No wonder I don't cover him that much. That was dumb. But he's popular. This is insane how popular. 400,000 people are watching this crap. The fuck? Why? This is like nothing. Alright, so apparently Yellowflash covers this, so I haven't looked at Yellowflash for a while, so let's see what classy takes he has, because he always has the classy takes, you know? I do think it's funny that the main channel is Yellowflash 2? 400k, jeez, maybe I need to be looking at him more often. That is a lot. Oh my god. He did a video 2 hours ago, 4 hours ago, 6 hours ago, 1 day ago, 1 day ago. Oh my god. Holy crap. Alright, let's see. Does he cover the writer's strike? All these videos, he has to cover the writer's strike, right? Lots of stuff on fucking Bud Light for some reason. Get over it. I'm not... How could he not cover it? All this shit and he doesn't cover the writer's strike. That's amazing. Oh yeah, no, he absolutely does, yeah. Snowflake, the famous comic book character Snowflake that appeared in so many comic books. Like, world famous character right there. Well, let's see. We could definitely check out, like, we definitely should be covering these guys more. I didn't realize how big he had gotten. True. He only copies Geeks and Gamers. Well, Geeks and Gamers covered this a bit, so... let's see. What do we want to cover? We could look at the Whoopi Goldberg thing, which I think is kind of weird. Like, so... Whoopi Goldberg wants to do... to my understanding, Whoopi Goldberg wants to do a comic book. And, like, she's getting criticized for it because she hasn't done one before, which... seems like a real, like, yeah, you start somewhere.
Got some comic book stuff that I want to go over.
Oh, good. Bounty in the comics, man. Nailing it. Woo. John Delarose. Oh, is he? I know he's a cringe guy. I didn't know he was a writer for Bounty in the comics as well. Yeah.
Now, I talked about this yesterday a little bit in the comic book video that I made, and that's that IDW is pretty much done. I don't see them surviving another 2 years. They're going to lay off 39% of their staff. They've been delisted from the stock exchange. It's looking pretty bad for IDW.
Okay. Let's look into this. I'm sure this has a... parent source for all those claims, because Bounty in the Comics is not known for their investigative journalism. They're known for their propaganda. Okay, here we go. So let's see what their original source is. So IDW... Sorry, Bounty Comics. The company reported. They actually do some research? Okay, I'm sure they're misrepresenting it. I'm not going to have time to go through all that fucking paperwork. Okay. Let's see what he has to say.
Unless somebody dumps a bunch of free money on him again, I don't think that they're going to do that well this year, especially in a shrinking comic book market. And it is shrinking rapidly.
It does seem familiar that IDW, there was a story that like 6 months ago or something about them failing, and then you look it up and it's not nearly as doom and gloom as it seems, but yeah, let's see.
Especially when a lot of the stuff that gets put out is garbage. There's some gems out there from every publisher, but there's nowhere near a good amount of comics compared to the garbage ones, because there is a lot of garbage comics. We're going to talk about one in a second. So one of the questions that I've had is what's going to happen to DC. It looks like not much. Oh, they are going to downsize, I bet, because they're giving Jim Lee more responsibility. I've talked about this before. A DC and Marvel don't cost Warner or Disney that much money to keep alive. I think...
Well, with the movies that they make off this, they're fine, even if they take a loss in the comic books, which I doubt they are, because comic books are doing pretty well right now. But even if they had to take a loss in the comic books, they'd be fine, because the movies do quite well.
They'll keep them around as long as the comic book movies keep making money. After that, I don't know. But the answer...
right now, I don't see them dying.
To David Zaslav, I guess, or his answer, I guess, is to give Jim Lee more responsibility. Jim Lee is an amazing artist, an amazing talent.
I'm a fan of Jim Lee, a promoted president. Okay, cool.
I'm not saying, anything bad about the man's career as an artist, but as an executive, it's definitely been hit or miss. I think he would be much better as, a talent and doing his thing.
I don't know what he's been as an executive, so I don't know his calls. Do you have some sources you want to throw at me? Like, things he's done? Or are you just going to say it's hit and miss? Okay.
On books, like he used to, instead of running DC Comics. He's not been a very good executive, in my opinion. He just hasn't been. But he is now not only the publisher and the CCO, he's also the president now. Lee, re-upping his deal with DC, has been promoted to now act as president as well as publisher.
Oh, I noticed that, Wallace and Gromit fan. I noticed he's right in the range for extra ads.
Sure, and CCO of the comic book company, which is part of Warner Brothers Discovery. So now he has 3 jobs. When is the man, is he even going to be able to do covers now?
I'm definitely noticing he's meandering on this a lot. I mean, this is supposed to be about the Whoopi Goldberg thing, and like we're a third of the way into the video, and we're on Jim Lee being president. By the way, I think he's supposed to be in Cincinnati. Jim Lee's supposed to be in Cincinnati in September, and so I'm hoping to have him sign my X-Men #1. That should be cool.
Which was all he was doing. He hasn't really made any comics, I don't think, in a while. Because they've got him too busy doing all this shit. And I'm sure the pay is nice, but he's not the greatest executive. I'm going to be honest. Great artist. Fantastic artist. I would argue one of the best that there was in comics, but as an executive, I don't think his track record has been that good. Comic book industry, man. Well, I have the answer for you.
I mean, the dude is a legend, and if he wants to do this, then I'm not going to say no. He's definitely earned it.
All of you that are wondering, what will the industry do next to get back in the news, to save everything, to save comic books? Well, that's bring Whoopi Goldberg in to do a comic.
You think they're bringing her in to save comics? Number one, comics don't need saved. They're doing fine. Number two, like Whoopi Goldberg's been fairly successful throughout her entire life. Just gonna say that. So like, she says, hey, I want to do a comic book. She could probably has the resources and the connections to do a comic book. And her name's fairly popular, so they could probably market it off that name and get at least a few sales out of it. So there's no reason to not do it.
For real. Whoopi Goldberg's debut graphic novel promises a new kind of superhero. The Change. Looks like Whoopi Goldberg. Anybody ever looked at Whoopi Goldberg and said, I'd love to see her as a superhero? That's basically what this is.
Maybe. I don't know. She looks different than most superheroes. I'll give it that. What's your point?
So this is going to sell nothing. No one's going to rush to the comic shops for this.
I think it's probably... I don't know how huge it's going to be, but I mean, I bet you it's going to sell something. Whoopi Goldberg's popular. She's a name. Everybody knows who Whoopi Goldberg is.
Get this. Now, you know what? This has been done a few times. They did it recently with Keanu Reeves, which worked. That Berserker comic is actually pretty legit. But Keanu Reeves is a better name to back because he's universally loved. Like, everyone loves Keanu Reeves. And he's a...
What's your point? What is your point? Yeah, Keanu Reeves and Whoopi Goldberg are two celebrities making comic books. What? So?
Known action star. And his whole book idea was a action star. There wasn't really anything political about it. It's just a good action book. This is a book about a 50-year-old woman in menopause who gets powers from going through menopause.
Okay. What is political about that? Like, you're arguing, oh, Keanu Reeves thing wasn't political. This is political because it's about a 50-year-old woman going through menopause and getting powers. What is political about that? Please answer me. And you're probably fucking watching, so, you know, you can put in chat or put in the comments, dude. What is political about that?
Okay, you know what this reminds me of is that shitty book that Daenerys Targaryen put out. What's her name? Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones. She put out a comic book called Mom. I think Mother of Madness or something. I can't remember the actual name of the book. It was Mom something. And the premise of the book was that she gets her powers through her period. And she could, like, grow her body hair. There were panels of her capturing criminals with her armpit hair. It was gross.
That actually sounds kind of funny.
Gross. That book...
that doesn't sound like a book to be taken seriously. That sounds like a comedy, dude.
Got a lot of news coverage, as this one is getting. But it didn't do anything for the industry. And what really pisses me off about this is there are a lot of great indie creators out there that are making some fantastic comics that are independent. You know, you have to find them.
I mean, true. There are lots of great indie creators out there that aren't being appreciated. That is true. Yeah. Support indie comic book creators.
And they have to get promoted. It's the only way you can find them. Like, a good example is the Diaz brothers. One of them comes on my Flashcast streams quite often. He's got a book out, The Lost Pages. So it's an amazing book, a great book. Michael Bancroft is another great example, The Lucent. That's a legit book, too. These guys, they don't get looked at by the mainstream, but Whoopi Goldberg does. For what? No, this is a comic book for nobody. Do you think 50-year-old women are going to want to read this?
Maybe. I mean, it's definitely an untapped market. I will give it that. But maybe. I mean, there are Whoopi Goldberg fans out there that might be interested in what she does. She definitely has a fan base, dude. No matter what you say, she's been fairly successful throughout her whole life, so she probably has a fan base who will check this out no matter what, and it will probably make its money. Now, if you're arguing that, like, you know, there are indie creators that should get more spotlight, I agree. I'm not going to argue against that, but, like, what does Whoopi Goldberg doing a comic book, like, have to do with them directly?
Boy, that's the market that will save comics. 50-plus-year-old women. If they were going to read comics and get into it, don't you think they would have done it in the golden age?
Well, maybe they never had a hero they identified with. Just saying. We don't know, man. Maybe it is the great untapped market. I don't expect it to be, but maybe, like I said, I'm certain she has a fan base to sell this thing.
Or actually, no, they'd be more Silver Age. I'm sorry. They'd be more Silver Age. Don't you think they would have gotten into comics in the Silver Age, the age they grew up in? The foundation, really, of the American comic book industry? I know the Golden Age was around, but it was the Silver Age, I would argue, where things really got big. Marvel really kind of just brought in the A game.
Yeah, I was wondering if he was naming off Comic Gate crap. I was semi-expecting him to say Eric July, and it's like, Eric July is funded by the Blaze, dude. Not an independent creator, sorry.
In the Silver Age and really blew up comics. But yeah, this is what's going to save us all. This is what's going to save the industry. Let's start getting Whoopi Goldberg type celebrities to make comics. Whoopi Goldberg, by the way.
I mean, if she wants to, I hope she enjoys it.
Very big political mouthpiece for the left. So you're.
I mean, she's definitely not like Trump or MAGA or anything. I don't know if I would call her a leftist. She's kind of more centrist. I'm not thrilled with a lot of her political takes, but I mean, she's not an insane right-winger, so I guess that's something. Like, I swear, anything that's not like insane anymore is like seen as far left. It's ridiculous.
We're already still catering to that audience. I just don't get it. And this is from Dark Horse. You think this is going to fly off the shelves, chat? No.
Does it have to? I'm sure it will make its money back. Why does it have to fly off the shelves? Like, I'm confused. What are you expecting from it?
So let me find that little.
Yeah, is Cyberfog flying off the shelves? I'm confused.
I'll give you the plot summary of what they want to do here.
And I bet you, unlike a lot of these guys that he talks about, she could probably actually keep a schedule on the goddamn thing.
Because of her lifelong love for comic books, Goldberg decided it was time to create a new kind of superhero. One who might be a little older, whose body might be a little thicker.
Well, hey, I actually didn't know she was a comic book fan, so that's kind of cool. So, like, she's a comic book fan, and she's decided, even though she is a bit older, she decided, you know what? I'm going to do a comic book about someone like me. That sounds kind of cool to me. What's wrong with that?
Whose breasts may not be the same size. She's also smack in the middle of menopause, which, along with chills and hot flashes, also gave her some unexpected superpowers. Wow. Boy, oh boy, that sounds exciting. Can't wait.
Maybe it is. Maybe it'll be a really good book. We haven't read it. We don't know.
Wait for this.
I mean, there is like the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. That was a story about a woman in her 50s. I think she was probably supposed to be in her 50s. But like a woman in her 50s, like who essentially has lived her worst life, lived the worst version of herself. And still, even at that point, she's able to bring herself up and like kind of be the hero of the day. That is like, that's a story you can tell. That, like, it's never too old to, like, be the hero. Like, it's never too late to do the, good thing. That's not a bad story at all.
The next article that we'll be reading is Dark Horse laying off 39% of its employees. Anyway.
Because they're going to make a comic book with Whoopi Goldberg that's almost certainly going to make its money back. Yeah, that's a terrible business move. I hate doing things that are guaranteed to make my money back. Whew.
Anyway. That's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about all this. I'd like to hear from you. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still...
Wow, that was lame. No wonder I don't cover him that much. That was dumb. But he's popular. This is insane how popular... 400,000 people are watching this crap. The fuck? Why? This is like nothing.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the